Hello! Welcome back to 101 with Tracy. I hope you all are doing great today. Are you ready for another lesson? Yes? Let's go! Today, our topic will be about the third part of the introduction. If paraphrasing is important, this part is essential. It is in this part that the readers will know about your opinion or view about the task. And also, this is a sort of their guide as to what you're going to expect in your body paragraphs. This video presents what thesis and outline statements are. But before that, we are going to look at the different types of question in the IELTS writing task 2. Our first type is questions that require your opinion or view. The typical examples to this are: to what extent do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree? Do you agree or disagree? What is your opinion or view about this? Do the advantages outweigh disadvantages? Is it a positive or negative development? For these questions that require your opinion or view, we are going to use thesis statement. The next type is the questions that need you to provide a plan. The typical examples are: discuss both views, what are the advantages and disadvantages, causes and solutions, causes and effects, problems and solutions, two-part essays, examples: why is this, what factors determine, or who do you think should. For these type of questions, we are going to use outline statement. The last type, or the third type, is questions that require you to provide both an opinion and a plan. The typical examples are: discuss both views and give your opinion, and other two-part essays. For example, in what ways has this become a positive or negative development? Or why is this? Or does this affect parents or children more? For this kind of questions that require you to provide both an opinion and a plan, you are going to use theses and outline statements. So, in short, you are going to use thesis statements when you talk about opinions or views, while outline statements are used to give a plan of the writer in the body paragraphs. There are two ways to write either the thesis or outline statement. The first one is basic. This is only for starters. When I say starters, I mean those students who have never had any IELTS classes before. I named it basic because students simply memorize some phrases or sentences. For example, for the questions that require your opinion, say, to what extent do you agree or disagree? This question provides you with three choices: strongly agree, strongly disagree, or partially agree. Students only need to choose one. For strongly agree, if you're going to choose this in your task, then you can just write, I am totally in favor of such view due to the following reasons. For strongly disagree, you can write, this essay is in strong disagreement with the proposition mentioned. The reasons will be tackled below. And last, for the partially agree, you can write, although there is some truth in it, I only partially agree to this owing to some sensible grounds. For the second type, let's say, what are the advantages and disadvantages? You only tell the readers what your plan is by writing, this essay will discuss the pros and cons of such proposition. Here, pros and cons are merely the memorized synonyms of the words advantages and disadvantages. The same thing you'll do in other questions in this very same type. For instance, what are the causes of this? What are the possible solutions to this? You are going to write, this essay will tackle the reasons and suggest probable solutions to address this issue. Mind you, you can always change the structure. You can always start with, in this essay, I will tackle the reasons and suggest probable solutions to address this issue. So you are going to vary your sentence structure, right? And now for our last type, for questions that require you to provide your opinion and plan, say discuss both views and give your opinion, you are just going to write, in this essay, I will discuss these two viewpoints and state my own position. The same thing you'll do if you have this kind of question. Why is this? Is it a positive or negative development? The memorized phrase or sentence will be, in my opinion, this brings about favorable developments along with this view. Causes of this will be discussed in this essay. As what I've mentioned, this way is only for starters. Teachers, since the students need to be familiar with the structure first, you can start with this. However, after a month or two of being familiar with the essay structure, then you can slowly shift to the other way. This is because it's not recommended to just memorize phrases or sentences, because if they'll do this, they are going to be penalized. If you look at the back of our sample writing task 2 sheet, in the part where there is examiner's use only, the bottom right of the sheet tells us that we are given other factors the examiners consider while checking our work. We have under length, number of words, penalty, off topic, memorized, and eligible. Yes, you read it right. It means they are going to spot phrases or sentences that are simply memorized. And they are highly trained spotters, by the way. So, what happens if they spot memorized phrases or sentences? Of course, it will affect your score, and we don't want that, do we? So, in order for us to reach the score we want, here is how the IELTS experts recommend thesis or outline statement to be written. Let's start with the first type of question, that one that requires your opinion. Again, in order to do this right, planning is needed. The sample question is, some think that students must travel to another country in order to learn its language and customs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So, our answer here, let's say, strongly disagree. Because one, it's costly, and two, students should immerse themselves first in their own culture. So, for a thesis statement, we will say, I strongly disapprove this because aside from being too costly, they have to be fully immersed with their own culture first before learning others. As you see, the thesis statement reveals directly its opinion, strongly disapproves, plus why it disagrees. It is important for you students to include the reasons in this part to serve as a guide to your reader. Let's say in your body 1, you should really talk about why it is too costly, and in body 2, why students should be immersed in one's culture first. Let's move on to the second type, a question needing a plan. The sample question is, many people have suggested that young adults should undertake a period of unpaid work helping people in their local community. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? So we have their plan. Our advantages are learn life skills and 2, develop empathy. For disadvantages, we have financial risk and time consuming. To write our thesis statement for this, we would say, volunteering may teach the young skills invaluable to life. However, they could face financial risk assuming such responsibility. So again, in making your body, you are going to follow the order, which is the body 1, teach practical skills to the young, and body 2, face financial risk. Maybe you'll ask, why is it only listing one advantage and one disadvantage while the task says advantages and disadvantages? The answer is that we only put the most important information, and the other factors could just be added as you go deeper in your body paragraph. It is totally fine even though you're planning to write two, but get the most important one and then write that down in your thesis statement, all right? For the last type, our question is, some educational systems make students study specialized subjects from the age of 15, while others require students to study a wide range. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So again, just like the other two, we are going to plan for it. So for both views, we have our view 1, which is to gain mastery of the field, and view 2, offer broader perspective. And our opinion would go for the second, which is learning general knowledge is more beneficial. So our thesis statement now will be, in my opinion, at age 15, learning more general knowledge at school helps to better the holistic development of students. Along with this view, this essay will discuss the two viewpoints above. Looking at this statement, we see that we are given the opinion directly and we just wrote a memorized phrase for outline statement. This is okay because if we add details to the two viewpoints, our introduction will look like a body paragraph. Remember, we just have to write an introduction that consists 35 to 50 words or 40 to 60 words. Now, same as the first two types, you are going to follow an order in which the body 1 will show the view 1, the body 2 will show the view 2, and your body 3 will show your opinion. Make sure to include your opinion, please, because again, that is what the question is asking us to discuss. We've now finished tackling the three parts of the introduction. This time, we'll see full written introductions taken from different IELTS websites. Before delving into them, let's look at introduction checklist first. These are the questions you are going to ask yourself in order for you to write a good introduction. So, does your introduction introduce all parts of the specific exam task or only some? Does your introduction avoid introducing ideas that are not in the specific exam task? Does your introduction show a clear position in answer to the exam task? Does your introduction avoid referring directly to the exam task? Or does the introduction use paraphrasing where possible or reasonable without changing meaning? If you're going to remember these questions in writing introduction, I'm pretty sure you will get and provide a good introduction. The next part will show to you different written introductions taken from different IELTS websites. So let's have the first question. Nowadays, more people are choosing to socialize online rather than face-to-face. Is this a positive or negative development? This question is taken from IELTSlist.com. Here we are given the introduction. An increasing number of people meet and talk to their friends online instead of in person. In my opinion, this is a negative development which can lead to isolation, potentially harmful situations, and also problems later on in life. We are only given two parts, which are the paraphrasing and the thesis statement. Of course, the writer here used the using synonyms method to paraphrase the task. She doesn't use general statement anymore. While In her thesis statement, she used, of course, the recommended method, in which here she shows her opinion, which is the negative development, and her reasons, which are isolation, potentially harmful situations. And our next task is, many people believe that the high levels of violence in films today are causing serious social problems. What are these problems and how could they be reduced? This is taken from IELTSexam.net. Here is our sample introduction. The increasing amount of violence that is shown in films has been a cause of concern for some time. Such films make violence appear entertaining, exciting, and even something to be copied. However, these could be addressed by strict law implementation of the governments. Just like the first type, in this second type, they only used two parts, which are the paraphrasing, and the thesis statement. So for the paraphrasing, the writer here used the using synonyms method to paraphrase the task. While because the second type focus on the two-part essay, we have there two sentences for outline statements. Okay, the first one talks about the problems. So the problems there mentioned are one, violence would appear entertaining, and two, violence would appear something to be copied. While the last question, which is how could they be reduced, this is asking us for solution, and we are only given with one major solution, and that is strict law implementation. Going to our last task, we have here, in some countries, owning a home rather than renting one is very important for people. Why might this be the cause? And do you think this is a positive or negative situation? Here, we are given a sample introduction as well. Many people today value owning their own home over renting. In my opinion, this is part of a natural desire for security and prestige, but it contains risk. Okay, this one is taken, by the way, from howtodoielts.com. Same with the first and the second type. We are given paraphrasing here, and but then as you see, we give only one sentence for both theses and outline statement. Where is that one? We have there, in my opinion. So that gives us the second question, which is, do you think this is a positive or negative situation? We have there, in my opinion, it contains risk. It contains risk there gives you the opinion of the writer. While this is part of a natural desire for security and prestige, that is the reason why owning a home is popular this time or important for people. And of course, we are just given a paraphrase here in the task, and we are using synonym method. I hope today's lesson is useful for you. The next video I'm going to make is about body paragraphs. So stay tuned for more, okay? Yes, and please don't forget to click like and share with your friends. See you in my next video.